Welcome to the Hill Country Nation Sports Wrap-Up Show. Here for tonight's episode. Man, we got a good one again in the house here tonight. Just a couple of more nights away from kickoff opening season around the Hill Country. And of course, we just can't wait. And man, once it's time, it's time. And ain't that right, Trey?
Did you realize in 48 hours from tonight, we will be under the lights kicking off football games? 48 hours, Friday Night Lights. No better time to be in the state of Texas. Friday nights. Man, I can't wait.
You know, when 4th of July hits, everybody's like, oh, man, it's just kind of there. But when that's our turnaround right there, because we know that it's just right around the corner, kind of like after, Halloween and Thanksgiving when Christmas is coming for the kids. We get excited on July 4th, as soon as that's over, because we know next up, football.
Heck yes. And my wife's like, it's football season already? I'm like, you had 6 months. Shut up.
6 months, ready to rock. Well, we got a good one tonight. This guy, man, is a living legend again when it comes into the Kerrville Tivy Antlers. And I tell you what, he came on board and succeeded a well-known Kerrville Tivy team and has not batted an eyelash ever since. We're talking to the Kerrville Tivy Antlers. This guy right here, Coach David Jones of the Tivy Antlers. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you, JR. I tell you what, that was quite a production, and I noticed every one of them had your name.
Yeah, right.
The associate producer, the assistant producer, the managing editor. I mean, you sort of monopolized the whole deal.
It's hard to find good work, good help around here. So,
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on. That's nice words to hear. We were talking before we went on. God has been good to me. I've been blessed in this business, and we've had a couple of down years, and people don't enjoy that, which none of us do. But we're on our way back, getting in the playoffs last year, and we're trending the right direction. We got a great group of kids we're coaching this year, and again, Kerrville community, the people who are associated with the program, I think they understand the direction we're going and what we want from our kids. So I feel blessed beyond measure to be the football coach at Tivy and to have the kids to coach that I get to coach daily.
Coach, I know when it comes to scheduling, you're no sloucher for like scheduling whoever and however just to prepare for district. And of course, looking at the pre-district schedule going on into district, which is a big district, by the way, compared to most Hill Country teams. Just talk about getting ready here, like Trey said, less than 48 hours to be on the road to go to the black and orange of Medina Valley Panthers.
Well, when you set the schedule up, there's a fine line in pre-district. You got to have some goals. You got to have a little bit of direction, an idea of what you really want to try to accomplish. You got to build some form of confidence. You have to know what you can do and what you probably are limited in doing. What we've tried to do is put our kids in 2 scrimmages that are extremely tough. Scrimmages don't count toward a record, but it gives you a great understanding of where you are. In our 2 scrimmages, you're not going to find 2 better football teams around anywhere than Bernie or Lake Belton. We moved the ball. We did some good things against both of those teams. The Panthers, like you said, are going to be obviously playing at their place, season opener, brand new coaching staff, brand new everything. There's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of things that we're going to have to overcome early in that game. But once the kickoff starts and you get that first 2 or 3 plays under your belt, it goes back to an old football game that you got to get in there and fight and figure out a way to win.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about the 2 scrimmages, and then, there were tough scrimmages. Of course, you have Bernie Greyhounds, who's probably going to be in district or classification next year. Big offensive linemen, state runners up from Class 4A, and then Lake Belton, who's a big 5A school who could possibly be 6A, who's picked up in their district. Just talk about your scrimmages and what you saw well from your group of kids. I know your defense showed up and everything, but just what were you most proud of from coming out of those 2 scrimmages?
I think number one, it solidified some thoughts about our defense. We thought going into the season we would be better around the whole thing, and our linebackers and secondary were going to be our strengths going into the season. We had a few questions about the defensive front, and I think after those two scrimmages, we found some things, and we have a lot more confidence, and we believe that we have the right people in those positions that are going to solidify that group. On offense, obviously the quarterback's always the number one question. They don't ask about the starting center, the starting guard, or the starting receiver or anything. They ask about the quarterback. And we have two senior kids who have done everything in their power to become the guy and to contribute to the Tivy Antlers. And right now, I don't have an answer for you at that. We're practicing every day. This is Wednesday night, and I may not have the answer before the kickoff on Friday. I do know both of them are going to play, and they're going to have opportunities to perform, and they're going to have opportunities to produce, and they're going to have opportunities to be part of what we're doing Friday night. And also, I think both of them are going to be part of our offense all year long. It's a hard position to play, and we put a lot on those guys, and we're going to throw the football a lot, and they're both going to need to be real productive for us to be successful. But coming out of the scrimmages, Trey, to answer your question, we moved the ball through the air, and we made a few good runs. We weren't really too concerned about the runs. We needed to find out if our receivers could catch the ball in traffic and if our quarterbacks could function under a little bit of pressure. And we feel like we established we have some answers, and we believe that they can do that. So the defensive front from Bernie, according to Coach Hendricks, was the best he's had. According to Coach Cope at Lake Belton, their offensive line was the best he's had. So we went against good people, and our guys held up extremely well.
Defensively, how are those guys coming along, gelling together? That is one of the things that you were talking about was your defense and having a sound defense. So those guys sticking together and gelling, just talk about how coaches have been really just kind of helping them out, coming along, and the way they're reading the ball lately.
On the defensive side of the ball, we have two new coaches that have been huge assets to our program. David Gaffney coaches our linebackers. Young coach Hunter Bradford came in and grew up in Texas, played high school football at Tomball. In fact, was an elementary age student in my wife's school when she was a principal in Tomball. Great young coach. Coach Gaffney has a world of experience. He's been a head coach. He's been an AD. He coached in the Allen district. He coached in Garland. So he's been around big-time football, big-time programs. He understands the game, understands how to be an assistant coach, but has done a great job. And our defensive kids believe in those guys, and their relationships that are being built and relationships that are being developed, that they're going to play hard for those guys. And they know the coaches love them. They know the coaches care about them. And it's going to be a strong point of our football team. Our defense is going to be extremely fast, aggressive, and will definitely chase after the ball. And when they get there, they're going to throw everything they've got.
Yeah, sticking with the defensive side of the ball, I mean, your linebacker core, I think, is probably the best I've seen in a while with Gavin Garcia, Flores, Irvin coming back. Just talk about their leadership, and also Aiden Hernandez, and just talk about the leadership in – what's the word I'm looking for? Helping the young group of juniors, sophomores, stuff like that. How has their leadership developed on the field?
Well, you always depend on the older guys who have played, who have been out there. We had a meeting today, and on a Wednesday we would normally give out our stickers and do some things like that. And we met with the kids who are going to be suiting up on Friday night, and we had about 15, 16, 17 that have never suited up for a varsity game. Friday night will be their first time ever. And then we said, how many of you have not started in a varsity game? And another 5 or 10 or 15 stood up. So we don't have a lot of experience, But when you do have a Wiley Flores or Aiden Hernandez or a Hayden Canese, even though he's been hurt, but has played for us, and you have a Tate Fahey, you have those guys who do have the experience, and they just have to hold it up, and they got to be positive. They got to be supportive, knowing that there's going to be some things happen Friday night that don't go our way. And you just got to battle back from that. And those are the guys that'll keep everything together, and they'll be the glue, and we'll rally and we'll figure out what we need to do next.
Coach, how was it like when you drive through the town and you're starting to see Tivy flags everywhere? You know, a little bit of couple of businesses starting to paint, you know, TFND, Kerrville Tivy. How big is it with them when the community gets behind and even go on the road just to be the fan base for Tivy?
Well, I think it's huge, and it means something to the kids. Our guys, and I don't, you know, people don't understand the sacrifice that our football kids make. They work out in January at 7:00 in the morning. They work out till 8:10 or 8:15. Then they come back on their own after school and work out another 35 or 45 minutes. Some of them play other sports. Then they come in the summer, and we have a 6-week program that they participate in. And then we start practice, and we practice 2 days a week at 6:30 in the morning when all their peers are in bed. And we ask a lot of them. And for people to feel like our kids, and I will say this, and I don't want to get on my soapbox, society anymore doesn't challenge people to work. They want you to sit and just take.
Yep.
Our kids aren't like that. Our kids work extremely hard. And when you get in your car and drive an hour and 15 or 20 minutes, it's worth it to watch a group of kids fight like crazy because they care about each other. And people want to complain about the youth of society. Come on. We got great kids. They're not perfect. None of us are. But I promise you, they work hard and they love being together, and they will represent this community in a very positive way. And I think people need to get out there and go. One thing about streaming, we talked about it this morning, it's been the negative, probably. Right. I love that my mom lives in Arkansas. My mother-in-law lives out in Fort Stockton, which I heard y'all may be taking a road trip out there later. They get to watch, their grandsons play.
Right.
My brother lives in Missouri. He gets to watch his nephew play. I think it's awesome for that. But if you live in Kerrville, you ought to get out in your car, drive to the stadium, and watch these guys in person. Get in the stands, make some noise, and get places excited. People say, well, it's not the way it used to be. It's not the same. It's not the same because we've chosen to make it different. Yeah. It's still the same thing. We got high school kids putting on a helmet, putting on shoulder pads, going to practice to play a game that we all love. It's no different at all. We don't have a Johnny Manziel, but we got kids laying their guts out for each other, and they need to be supported. And people need to get out there and watch them play. Don't worry about the coach. You know, they can complain about the coach, not whatever. Don't worry about me. Go watch the kids.
Yeah.
And watch those kids compete, and you're going to be proud of them. Yeah. You're going to love and care about what they're doing because society is telling you not to do it. Be selfish, worry about yourself, and take.
Yeah.
Our kids aren't that way.
No.
Our kids are not selfish, and they're not thinking of themselves. They're thinking of each other, and the product on the field will reflect that. Sorry, I got a little.
All right.
Up, buddy.
Hey, you said everything I wanted to say. I'm sorry, my dog's going a little crazy in here right now.
I probably woke him up from a nap or something.
Talk about your kids working hard. I mean, I'm out there driving around. I see the lights on at 6:00 in the morning. I see them practicing hard. I've been both of your scrimmages here. I was a sideline reporter last year. I saw the enthusiasm from all your sideline, pumping up their teammates and stuff like that. But you kind of have to this year. I mean, your district. I want to say your district is probably one of the top in top 5A. You have Liberty Hill, who's probably ranked number 3. You have Veterans Memorial, who was the best game I've seen all year last year when y'all went to Thursday night and basically clinched a playoff spot against that win. And then you have Lockhart, who has a D1 commit and the quarterback, the running back also. I mean, just talk about your district and how 3 of the top 7 teams are ranked in the top 25 and how tough it is in this district this year.
Well, it's going to be every week. I mean, there's our schedule top to bottom.
Amen.
just alone is as tough a schedule as there is anywhere. And then our district, anybody on any given Friday, I mean, you have to put Liberty Hill. They're up there at a different level, but they can get beat.
Yeah.
Anybody can get beat on a given night. Veterans Memorial proved that last year. On paper, they were better than us. We watched them warm up, and you're thinking, my word, look at that kid, look at that kid, look at that. And the next thing you know, they drive down and score, and we return the kick. So it's going to be a fight all year long, and people are going to get to watch some outstanding football players. Yeah. You're not going to see a better running back than the kid at Vets. He is an incredible player. The quarterback at Lockhart is just a freak athlete.
Amen.
It's just incredible what he can do. Piper, all of those kids are coming back.
Right.
They didn't graduate anybody.
Yeah.
So they're just juniors. So our district is going to be extremely tough. And you're going to have to be a good, solid, all-around football team to be successful.
Trey, you got any comments? What we got?
Oh, Coach, we got Kerry Hamlin saying Tivy fight never dies.
There you go.
And then Blanca says, much respect from the Lions Pride Sports Network. That's Lockhart for Coach Jones and Kerrville Tivy Antlers. Great program. It's always tough and great game between Lockhart and Tivy. So there you go.
That's been it right there. Coach, let's kind of get to a little side here. First of all, let's do this real quick. If I don't do it, I'll get in trouble. And then if I get in trouble, then I'll never hear about it to the end of the day. But I just got to bring it up real quick. I want to say today's show is sponsored by First Insurance Agency of the Hill Country in Kerrville and Comfort. Now, First Insurance Agency did save Hill Country Nation $325 a month on insurance. Hey, I just took a bunch of stuff, bundled it up, and compared to what I was paying before, and all of a sudden, boom, Mark Justice said, I can save you $325 a month, and he did. No joke, that is no lie. Visit them online, firstinsagency.com. That's firstinsagency.com. Don't matter if you have a motorhome because you're going to be taking it to go see the Tivy Antlers somewhere, or maybe you're just one of those guys that love to ride ATVs or have a boat. It doesn't matter. You can put them all together and let First INS Agency find the best rates for you. FirstINSAgency.com. All right, Coach, got to see the wrist. What new ones do you have this year? Are you still doing that? What's the new ones, and what do we got going on here for this year?
The one this year says change the game. We want our kids to change it. Be the guy that impacts the game. Make a play, change the momentum, stop the momentum, gain the momentum, change the game. And then the other one on there, we went through our Antler Week last year. We invited basketball players, soccer players. We invited every athlete at Tivy. And we had tennis in there with us. We had basketball in with us. We had soccer with us. And Coach Demery was a speaker one morning before we started, and he talked about family. And he said, forget about me, I love you. And we got wrist bracelets for all those kids that went through the Antler Week. And it says family on there, 212 and TFND. So those are the two bracelets that we got on. And the one for football specifically is Change the Game, 212 and TFND.
Nice.
Coach, I want to talk a little bit about I was at both of your scrimmages, and after the scrimmages, I talked to you a little bit. And the first thing you said out of your mouth was, man, this year's going to be fun. What has you so enthused about this season compared to last year or the year before?
Trey, it's not anything that was missing in the years before. I've always, it doesn't look like I do, but I love getting to do this. I mean, it's something I've done forever. I don't want to do anything else. The group of kids we have right now get along with each other.
I saw that.
They're fun to be with. They work extremely hard. I can tell them when you leave the locker room, there's 50 chairs. I want them in stacks of 5, and I want this place picked up. That's it. I go in there, the locker room's cleaned up, and I have stacks of 5. They do what they're told to do, and they're respectful kids. We had Stormy Rose, our senior captain, returning starter. We have talks every afternoon after practice. I'll lead it off on Monday. We'll have a player talk on Tuesday, and I'll have another coach talk on Wednesday, and it's always the same subject. And we go through what an antler is. An antler is an attitude. The N is never give up. The T is trust. And we spell out the antlers, and each word means something. And Stormy mentioned yesterday, and one of our guys got a shot put on in practice. It was a pretty good shot. And last couple of years, somebody probably would have got up and the fight was on. Right. I mean, it's just This year's different. The kid took the shot, got back in line, and went back to work. All the extra stuff didn't matter. Caught the ball, got hit hard. That's it. Get up, get back to the next play. And then we have a room full of people like that. You'll get popped, but there's all the extra and all the other stuff just doesn't seem to be there. And they're a great group of kids that get along. And I'm, it's probably a little bit different for me this year because my sons are playing. And it probably does feel a little different having them around a little bit more to where I can directly, be involved with what they're doing and what they love doing. So, and Coach Gaffney has a son on the team as well. So we got some vested interest in making sure we do it the right way, and we're impacting kids for the positive. And I don't know, I've spent more time since January visiting and going places and talking to coaches that I've had in a long time. And it's been a great, invigorating, exciting learning experience for me. You're always trying to figure out new ways of doing things. You're always trying to tweak what you're doing. And we've changed our practice routine a little bit to where we think we'll be a little bit fresher and more excited on Fridays. And so you're always searching, but it's just a neat group of kids that I think people are going to grow to love and care and really appreciate what they do and how they do it.
Kind of reminds me back in the late 80s when Trey Northcutt laid a whipping during a practice on one of the young'uns. And laying there, and Trey just looked at him and said, "Get up. You're a fighting antler." And if that kid didn't get back up and have a little more pep in his step, even though he took a hard shot from a Trey Northcutt, it was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna back down from anybody, but we're gonna get focused on what we got to do and go to the next play because we got to snap it again.
Yes, sir. Coach, it's Thursday. You're out and about. Of course, you're going to be watching the JV and everything, but then here comes Friday. So Thursdays are kind of up in the air and things like that, but Friday, it's lunchtime. Do you have a go-to meal or anything like that, or do you just bring
JR, I don't eat a whole lot right now. Sleep is not one of those things that I get a lot of.
Right.
But don't have a big appetite on Fridays for sure. I don't have a go-to place. I don't have a ritual that I've got to have happen. It's just really one of those things that you want so badly the kids to have a good experience. And you're going through your mind all day long. Okay, have we covered this? Have we covered that? Are we giving them the very best opportunity to be successful? Are we doing what we do well? And are we getting the ball in the hands of the right person at the right time? And you're just going through all those things most of the day, just trying to make sure you have everything lined up and everything in order. So it's just a day that you reflect, you look back and say, man, what a great opportunity we have to go be part of this. And then you're just, you're constantly evaluating and making sure that everything is where you want it to be.
So basically, like no same cup of coffee or
No, I leave my house in the morning with the Dr. Pepper. That's it. I have a Dr. Pepper on the way to school or on the way to work.
There you go.
And then I may go get me another one during the day, but that's about it.
There you go.
Well, Coach, you kind of elaborated earlier about the 5 chair stacks, whatever, but I also want to know because you're an even kill guy, you're a chill coach. What's one thing that gets under your skin? What's your number one pet peeve as a coach?
Trey, that's a good question because the kids could probably tell you several things that I get upset about. I think the number one thing, if I feel like if you're losing a lack of focus and we've gone over something, that ought to be correct. Right. And if you're not paying attention to what we're telling you to do, that irritates me a little bit. I think this game demands an incredible amount of focus and desire to do well. I think it demands unbelievable attention to details. I don't think you can be successful if you don't know what you're doing. So I think if somebody's going to ask me what upsets me, probably a kid that does not appear to be focused or appears to be somewhat unmotivated when they're performing or when they're there, because guys are dependent on you. Your job's important. And I think those are the things that would bother me. And I guess overall, honestly, and I think it goes back to this. When I played the game a long time ago, I played football because my 2 older brothers played.
Right.
And I loved the fact that my name could get in the paper. And I loved the fact that I was immediately somebody in my community of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Right. People knew who I was. I love that. And maybe that's a poor reason to play the game. But I did not play the game with a lot of passion. And I want kids never to have to look in the mirror and know they did not play with passion. And right. It doesn't matter their size. I don't want them to be scared of anything. I want them to understand they can line up against anybody out there and never back down. Get back up, go to work. It does not matter. Makes no difference how small or how large you are. Get up and go fight. And I want kids to be able to do that. When I see kids sort of shy away from that does upset me a little bit. I don't like that. Be tough and go fight and get back up.
Get up, because you're a fighting man. There you go. Boom. Coach, talk about your coaches this year, because you already mentioned some of the newer ones, but some of the ones that have been with you and everything and what they mean to you, not only as a coach, but as a brother on the field as well and in life.
I have been blessed, JR. When I first became a head coach, I had some guys on staff that were my friends, protected me. It was a tough job, but we did it. I stayed for 8 months and got an opportunity to go to Allen, Texas, with Todd Graham, Keith Patterson.
Yeah.
And probably was the best move. Not probably, it was the best move I ever made in my life. I was on a great staff in Louisiana where we won a state championship. Had a quarterback that set a national record for touchdown passes. I thought coaching was pretty easy. 5 years, had a ring. 5 years later in Oklahoma, played for another one. 4 years later or 5, played for another one. So I thought it was pretty simple. And then we got to Texas. It's not quite the same animal. But coaches, assistant coaches are my lifeblood. I'm no better than the coaches I have on staff. When I was at Cy Woods, I had an incredibly gifted, blessed, beyond measure football staff. And we won a ton of games, opened up a brand new school, and at one time had one of the winningest records of a new school in the state of Texas. Came here, inherited a great program. Mark Smith had done a great job. Kids understood what it was about. And we had good coaches. And we, this year, I don't know if I've had a better staff, top to bottom. And like I've told people, they are good men that love kids, are passionate about the sport and want kids to develop into young men. And I don't think there's anything better than that. And there's not a better job in America than that. And if we don't teach, and I don't want to get on my soapbox, but if we don't teach young kids responsibility, how to work, how to be tough, how to get up and earn something, we're in trouble. And we got a staff of guys that show that every day. If you want to, JR, I don't know if you'll have any interest at all, but if you'll come to the field house tomorrow morning at 4:30 or 5, you'll see coaches in there.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So it shows that they work and they care about what they're doing. And again, that's my lifeblood. I depend on those guys, and I've got to have them. And I'm truly blessed by the good Lord above to have a great coaching staff with me.
Time for a couple more questions, Trey.
I don't want to steal your question, JR, but I kind of want to go with this because I watched my daughter first time. She's a 5-year-old kindergartner. First soccer practice today. My wife got mad at me because I'm not coaching her because I didn't want that relationship.
Yeah.
Like I'm too hard. I'm too competitive, and I didn't want her. And I know your wife is. She's always nervous watching you coach and everything like that. But how hard is it going to be for Holly this year, knowing her 2 sons are playing, and you coaching them in that relationship between y'all?
I'm not going to speak for her, Trey, because she's way, way above my intellect, and I can't relate very well to her. But it is extremely hard to be a coach's wife, period. The things that are said, and I don't, I don't hear it. I know it's being said sometimes. I've laughed about it. If I knew the result of that play, I wouldn't have called it either. If I'd have known we were going to get sacked, I wouldn't have called that. So that stuff really doesn't bother me, but it is hard. It's hard on her. She has an interest in us doing well. But even in, the best times we've had here, when we're rolling 3-4 rounds deep, there were still things said in the stands that were harsh and unfortunate. But she handles it extremely well. I don't think it's fun for her. I don't think she enjoys it. And I think you throw the aspect of 2 boys out there now, playing the game that they love. She's a trooper. She'll support them. She'll be at every game, and she'll be their biggest cheerleaders. In fact, she's scheduled a few meetings with me already to discuss a few things that she didn't like I was doing. And we discussed it in an orderly way, and we went on about our business. I'm in trouble right now. I'll tell you what happened. My son went to practice this morning, and he left his practice jersey at home. And it was 6:15, and we're going out at 6:45. He thought he was going to go home and get his practice, and I wouldn't let him go. I said, Dad, I've got time. I said, no, you're not leaving. I said, I'll give you a jersey, and you're running after practice for not having your stuff. Well, I'm going to tell Mom. I said, tell her. Go ahead and tell her, because you're going to run, and I'm not letting you leave. So anyway, I'll see how that conversation goes on. But no, I think she does a great job, and it's hard. It's hard being a coach's wife. Yeah. And you throw the aspect in there of a sons or 2 sons playing, and I'm sure it'll amp up on them. But they're going to do well. They're going to play hard. They're not going to be the biggest guys out there, but they're going to catch the ball. They're going to compete, and they'll gain respect of their peers by the way they perform.
One last question, Coach, and it's always a big one for me because I'm always curious on the different answers, and honestly, it blesses a guy like me and it helps me to understand for myself as well. So, with all that said, what makes Coach Jones Coach Jones?
Golly, JR, that's a good question. I think one of the things I hope people understand, there's a lot of coaches in this profession with egos that could not fit on this screen. Mm-hmm. They're out of control. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of coaches that care about one thing and one thing only, and that's a W.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean this to where I don't want to be misunderstood. JR, winning is important, and winning is vital for our program. We need to win.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody who wants to win any more than I do. But I am not going to judge myself or this team or any team by a W or an L.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if somebody wants to know what Coach Jones is all about, number one, I want to try to be an example of what a human being should be. I want to try to be an example to a young man. When pressure mounts, how do you handle it?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be an example to a young man to where he will want to work, do right, make a living for his family, and treat people with respect.
Yes.
And I think that's what I would like people to think of me. And if they think I'm a decent coach, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
But I want them to know their sons are being coached by somebody who has passion for their son, somebody who has passion for young people, and somebody who has passion for this sport that has taught me and has given me an incredible life. And I wouldn't take anything for it. I've never done anything since the 4th grade but go to school and play football or coach it. It's all I've ever done. I've been in school my whole life, and I've coached the entire career. And not many people get to go to work every day, JR, and do exactly what they want to do and love every second of it. Yeah. There's not a day. There may be some points in a day that aren't very enjoyable.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when I lay my head down, I am a happy person that's gotten to do what he has a passion and love for. And I hope people will remember that and remember me as somebody who cared about kids and cared about a great sport.
That's awesome.
Hope that answered your question.
It does. It's awesome, and it helps me out too on a whole different level that you never understand and know, but yet you do. So awesome. Coach Jones, thank you so much for joining us here on tonight's episode. We really appreciate it. And of course, we're going to be, keeping up what's going on in the Kerrville Tivy Antler world. And of course, I need to come join you at least some point at 4:30 in the morning, right?
Come on.
Dude, I think I can do that at some point. Man, that'd be good. I need to work out anyway, right, Trey?
Good luck. I don't make it at 4:30 myself. I can tell you that.
I might be going to bed at 4:30.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
We want to thank you, all you fans out there, for watching and listening. And, of course, I just took myself off. TFND, baby, getting ready to start season. Like Trey said, in less than 48 hours. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And, hey, it's getting ready to be a kickoff time. And, of course, our first game of the week, of course, is going to be the Comfort Bobcats at the Johnson City Eagles. Can't wait for that as well. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And we'll be off tomorrow because everybody is going to be kind of off doing the thing for Thursday nights anyway when it comes to JV games, especially all the coaches. And then, of course, Friday, well, we'll be on air. All right, that's going to do it here from the Hill Country Nation Sports Jam Broadcasting Studios. And God bless you, and I am out of here.